Hola, mis estudiantes de español 1. We are starting. Vamos a empezar la lección de contextos, which is our vocabulary section of each chapter, of our first chapter of the Descubre Uno textbook. And we call each chapter lección, and then we number them. So this will be lección 1. So in Google Classroom, you should have located these notes sheets that I'm showing you right now, and you're going to fill in, escriban el inglés, in each section next to the español. If you need help on locating this or you want this vocab next to you to look at, go to página 38 in VHL, and I'm actually going to show you how to get to that. Rápido. Okay, so my view looks a little different than yours, but we all have these same tabs at the top. To get to VText, click Content, and this is after I've logged in. I've clicked on the Descubre textbook image, and it brings you to your dashboard, which looks different than mine. But at the top, click Content, drop-down menu comes up, click VText. VText es el libro de español, okay? Aquí está. You can see I was just on it to check on that page number. So 38, and all you have to do is type in that número, click enter, and it'll come to this. I prefer the single page view, so I can really zoom in just on this vocabulario, okay? And for parte 1, we're using vocabulario de saludos, despedidas, and the cómo está vocabulario, cómo está, okay? We'll add in more for parte 2 y parte 3. This is a 3-part vocab introduction, okay? So again, log into VHL, click Descubre Uno textbook, content, VText, and it's página 38 in VText. Okay, ahora la página de apuntes. Okay, so let's check out how far we're going with parte 1 en el papel or en el documento. Parte 1 takes us through the saludos y despedidas. We learned those last week, some of those. Asking and answering how are you will be new for us today. Asking y tú y usted, we'll learn what that's about. And then we've got a formal y familiar. And I actually could even say familiar is the same thing as informal. And we'll learn about this. And that ends Contextos Parte 1. Our next lessons, next week we'll have Parte 2 y Parte 3. So what's going to happen is you'll complete notes through Parte 1, which ends here, formal y familiar, and you'll submit that in Google Classroom. I'll check your notes, I'll return your notes to you, and you'll complete Parte 2 and Parte 3, okay? So just know you're going to get these back. Bien, ahora la lección. Okay, Contextos 1.1 vocabulario, parte 1. So we learned last week some of these, what we call los saludos or greetings. And we learned hola, buenos días, buenas tardes, buenas noches. And so if you could fill in, completen, escriban el inglés en el documento, lo siento, escriban el inglés en el documento. ¿Qué significa en inglés hola? Okay, make a guess. ¿Qué significa buenos días? Buenos días. If you can remember any of these from last week. En inglés, escriban qué significa buenas tardes. ¿Y qué significa en inglés buenas noches? See if you can remember, make a little guess, escriban. Okay, new words we didn't learn last week, but you're probably recognizing señora, because I refer to myself as Señora Blanco. So guess what that means, Señora? Then what would Señor be? And that's the male version of this kind of a title. I'm going to give you a clue. These are titles. Señor, and making a guess in English. And then guess what señorita might mean. Okay, type that in. Escriban. And your respuestas en inglés. Hola. Buenos días. Buenas tardes. Buenas noches. Señor. Señora. And these have two meanings. En inglés, señorita just has one meaning en inglés. Okay, repitan después de mí. Hola. Repitan, buenos días. Buenas tardes. Buenas noches. Señor. Repitan, señora. Señorita. Okay, las despedidas. Do you remember any of these from our lesson last week? The new one, I believe, is saludos a. We did not learn that in last week's lesson. Okay, adiós en inglés. Ciao. Hasta luego. Escriban el inglés. Hasta pronto. Hasta mañana. Nos vemos. Saludos a. Now we did see saludos over here. There's that title, saludos. So, I wonder what that could be. Saludos a. Hey, en inglés. Adiós. Ciao. Hasta luego. Hasta pronto. So notice that we have hasta luego, hasta pronto. Here's an hasta mañana. And so that's the see you part, hasta, which literally translates until, to the word until. But we don't say that in English. Okay, so instead in English, we make it make sense. See you. Okay, then luego would be our word for later. Pronto significa soon. Mañana is the word for tomorrow. It can also mean morning. Nos vemos significa see you. It's kind of like that see ya that we do, that short little see ya in English. Saludos a significa greetings to. So if I know somebody's family and I'm seeing them, blah, 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 I say goodbye, we're chatting, and then we say our goodbyes, I would say saludos a tu familia. Maybe I know your mom. Saludos a tu mamá, saludos a tu papá. And it's a polite thing that we do in Espanol to make sure that everyone, like someone knows that we're thinking about their family as well, and let them know that we say hello so they know we're thinking about them. Okay, so that's a polite thing that you do when you're talking to somebody to end the conversation, somebody that you know, so close friends and family. Okay, so one little thing about nos vemos, you can replace hasta in any of these three phrases with nos vemos. So I can choose hasta luego or nos vemos luego, hasta pronto or nos vemos pronto, hasta mañana o nos vemos mañana. So you can mix and match that hasta and nos vemos for these phrases. Okay, repitan. Adiós. Ciao. Hasta luego. Hasta pronto. Hasta mañana. Nos vemos. Saludos a. Muy bien. Okay, asking and answering, how are you? A lot of people know this in Español. So there are two ways to ask that, the question that literally translates to how are you? And you can ask someone ¿Cómo estás? And we call that the form that's familiar, or we might say informal. And you can also choose ¿Cómo está usted? Notice there's no S on this one. ¿Cómo está usted? Or you can even just say ¿Cómo está? Or ¿Cómo estás? Okay, so both of those mean in English, how are you? So as you're filling in, escriban, how are you for both of those. And we'll look later at how to choose the question. Which one do we choose? When do we speak to someone with an informal or familiar, ¿cómo estás? When do we need to choose the formal, how are you? ¿Cómo está usted? Okay, respuestas. Let's see if you can make any guesses on what these mean. Okay, número uno, estoy muy bien, gracias. Número dos, estoy bien, gracias. Número tres, estoy regular, estoy regular. Número cuatro, no muy bien, no muy bien. Okay, have you made your guesses in inglés? Okay, let's check. Estoy muy bien, gracias. Significa en inglés. That's the very good. Literally, it should be translated as very well, is incorrect grammar for us to say I'm very good. But that's very Iowan of us. So let's keep it if that makes sense to you. Estoy bien, gracias. I'm good, thanks. Estoy regular is the so-so. Okay. No muy bien. I'm not doing very well. Okay, ahora más preguntas. Other ways. Oh, we forgot our práctica de pronunciación. Lo siento, clase. ¿Cómo estás? Repiten. ¿Cómo está usted? Repiten en español. Estoy muy bien, gracias. Estoy bien, gracias. Estoy regular. No muy bien. Fantástico. Okay, listos. Más preguntas, other ways to ask how are you? Because we ask this in a lot of different ways in English. How's it going? What's up? What's new? How's everything? These are ways that we ask how people are doing. So in Espanol, we have lots of ways, and these are just a few more. ¿Qué tal is one of my favorites. ¿Qué tal? And I even mix that with the ¿cómo estás? Epa, amigo, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? Which is like, how's it going? How are you? So we answer ¿qué tal? With these same bien, muy bien, regular, etc. Okay? Now, número dos, ¿qué pasa? ¿Qué pasa? What's happening? What's up? How's it going? What's going on? So, ¿qué pasa? Also, we could say nada if we wanted to start that, but then we usually also tell how we're doing. So, nada, estoy muy bien. O nada, estoy bien. Last one, ¿qué hay de nuevo? Is a what's new. So if you didn't have a lot of Spanish to share about all the things that are new, I'm studying at home, I'm doing classes online, just all those changes that have happened this year. Nada, if you like the short answer and you don't feel like talking about it. You can say nada and you can still tell how you're doing. Estoy muy bien. Not much and I'm good. Okay, so repiten. ¿Qué tal? ¿Qué pasa? ¿Qué hay de nuevo? If you look at this word and you think, wow, that's a word in English. That means like hay is like something animals eat, right? So remember that H is silent. A says A, we call it la letra A, and this makes a E sound. So that's why it's que hay, like the body part, hay, se pronuncia hay, que hay de nuevo. Bien? Okay. Y repiten nada. Okay, so if somebody asks you, ¿cómo estás? ¿Qué tal? And you answer, estoy bien, gracias. You don't have to ask back, ¿cómo está usted? Or ¿cómo estás? You can just kick back. I call it the kickback. You can kick back the question with a, I'm good, and you? We do this in English too, right? So, ¿cómo estás? Somebody asks you, estoy bien. And I ask them back, it's a friend, ¿y tú? Repiten, ¿y tú? Okay, but what if it's an older person or somebody that I have to speak to formally and they ask me, ¿cómo estás? They can speak to me informally, maybe I'm younger. And then I have to ask them back. Ooh, then I have to ask, ¿y usted? And we'll get into familiar and formal on our next slide. So y usted and y tú both mean and you, but we choose one depending on who we're talking to. Okay, repiten y usted, y tú, y usted. Muy bien. And they just both mean and you. Okay, so how do we know when to choose formal, when to choose informal? This is only for asking you questions. How are you? Where are you from? What's your name? Okay, and when we have that direct question to a person, we have to decide if I'm speaking to someone, asking someone a question like that, a direct question, can I choose to speak to them informally? Is it someone I can be casual with? And that's our familiar or informal. Or is it someone I need to speak to with more respect? It's a politeness that we do in Espanol, okay? And that's when we choose formal. So formal, choose this form of a question when you're talking to people you don't know. It's a sign of respect. Somebody that's older, we give a lot of respect to our elders in Espanol, and we would choose formal. Or professionals, if you're in a doctor's office, visiting, maybe my husband goes to see his accountant for his business. Any kind of professionals, teachers, you use this with. If there's somebody that you might call by a title, señor, señora, then use the formal. When in doubt, choose formal because you can never go wrong with too much respect and politeness. So who do we get to choose that como estás with? That's people you know well, can be family, cousins, good friends, or people your age, even if you don't know them. If they're your age, it's okay to choose informal. And then people that are younger than you get to speak to informal. Okay? Escriban 3 opportunities to choose a formal and the 2 times that we're using informal. Y eso es todo. Terminamos parte 1. You'll submit your note sheet. Click Turn In. I'll review your notes and I'll return them back to you to complete for next week, parte 2 y 3. Bien. Hasta pronto.